Hello, good evening, and welcome to Upfront. My guest today was a member of the Provisional National Defense Council, the team that took over power in 1981. I'm sure in his capacity as press secretary to that particular council, of course, he wasn't part of those who were the people considered to be the members of the council, but he was part of the PNDC at that time. He will give us some insight into what happened at that time, especially following our special assignment on crimes that shook the nation. The member of the PNDC has also held varied positions that you should be interested in. He was, until very recently, the Member of Parliament for Ho Central. The Honorable Captain Infojo, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ray.
I mostly see people call you Captain Infojo, they forget the judge in there, but I hope you are doing well.
Yes.
And you are in fairly good shape. I mean, perhaps because of your military background.
Well, my wife also takes good care of me.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know, today is our 37th anniversary.
Oh, great, great.
Yes,
congratulations.
yes. And you've brought me here.
Oh, well, this is also important national matters. I'm sure you would agree.
Thank you.
Now, we know that 31st December coup brought into place the PNDC. And much of what has happened over the period is the PNDC has been remembered to be perhaps the longest staying military junta in this country, because it actually from the 31st December 81 through to the time he had constitutional rule, it was in charge. You were in charge of press in this case.
I was the press liaison officer.
Yes, press, that's how you call it.
Not a member of the
of
PNDC,
course.
but press
Yes, there's a council,
officer.
you're not part of
Yes,
the council.
yes.
Yeah, but what was the job of the press liaison officer then?
Oh, like it happens today. You have a press secretary,
Okay.
you know, to the president.
Okay.
And who reports on the president and the council as well.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
Yes, yes.
So you
All statements emanated from my office.
you sat through council meetings?
Sometimes.
Oh, that's
Yes,
interesting to know.
sometimes.
Now, the understanding we have, many have of the, and if you've heard Sam Okujeto before, he said the PNDC was a brutal regime. Is it true?
Which of the Okujetos?
I'm talking about
Of
Sam
course, I
Okujeto,
know.
the lawyer.
Some will say it, yes.
Yes. Why do you say he will
Oh,
say it?
I know he will say it, yes. I don't know what he has against the military people, but then I know he will say it.
He hosts a list of 200
It couldn't
people.
be a black one, yes.
Yes, he hosts a list of 200 people that vanished. He said were killed at some point in time, but there were never a conclusion to what happened to them, the perpetrators and stuff like that. Did you ever see that list?
No.
Surprising.
Have you seen it too?
Yes, I have actually seen
And
a
who are
copy
they?
of same. He mentioned them, he graded them according to regions. Those are sometimes ordinary people and others to imposition. For example, in the Voto region where you come from, he has a list of 3 traditional priests who were killed, burnt, just like the way the judges were treated.
That was no secret. It happened.
It happened, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
But I never got to the bottom of the matter.
Well, it was investigated, but it's up to the investigators, not the council will hand it over to the investigators to work on. Yes, and if they didn't get to the bottom, well, that is it.
So today there was nobody prosecuted for the killing of these traditional priests?
Not that I know.
But we know those who arrested them. They said they were military men.
Yes, so,
So they couldn't identify them.
well, they didn't do it in the open.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
true, it's true,
yes,
of course.
they didn't do it in the open. If they did it in the open, people would have pointed at them. But if they did it, you know, secretly, we're all concerned.
Really?
It's not that we enjoyed those things. You know, when the revolution got out of hand.
It got out of hand.
Yes, sometimes. Of course, a revolution. What do you expect? It's not a normal rule. It's not a
The
constitutional
people who
rule.
were supposed to be in charge were not in charge.
Yes, we are supposed to be in charge.
Yeah, what happened?
We the officers. Yes, but when the men are holding guns, you know, there are times that we are able to, you know, calm them down.
Some Okujeto also thinks
You know,
that...
it was not an easy thing, as you are saying now. I don't know if you were born then. We did all that we could. And in the end, we succeeded.
Okay, now Sam Okujeto also believes that, of course, he admits that the people who were supposed to be in charge were not in control. Is it true that officers were having pistols and other ranks were actually having bigger guns, machine guns?
Officers don't carry big guns, machine guns. That's for soldiers. Officers keep pistols, personal weapons.
Okay.
Yes, pistols. Unless you are on operation, you know, facing the enemy and you decide to use a bigger weapon. Otherwise, the officers weapon, personal weapon is a pistol.
So you say that was standard practice. It was not a sign of a failed system.
It was not. What wasn't a sign of a failed
The
system?
carrying of weapons and who carried which one?
You know, when it happens and soldiers grab guns and it's in their hands, it takes time to disarm them. In the end, we're able to disarm them.
We did?
Yes.
Okay, now let me understand this properly. How did the PNDC receive notice of the abduction and killing of the judges?
You see, this abduction of judges, it's a very serious matter. It's not as if, as I said, we enjoy, seeing people suffer. They are parents, they are breadwinners, and so when it happens this way, we are all confronted with the issue. It was a very difficult situation, actually. Very difficult situation, especially when you didn't know who did it.
It wasn't clear?
It was not clear. How clear?
It was not known to the PNDC.
Why would the PNDC ask people to go and murder, human beings? I don't think it happened that way.
Because
some people may conspire and do it, yes, but then the council, I don't know. I don't think the council can ask anybody go and kill people.
The conclusion by the National Reconciliation Commission was that the PNDC was ultimately responsible for the abduction and killing of these judges.
Which members of the PNDC?
It didn't specifically mention them, but at a point in time, it talked about who the masterminds were, referencing the SIB reports and other things.
Well, and so far they've not pointed at individuals, have they?
Yes, they actually did. And there are sections that suggested that. If you will, I can actually read to you these particular sections on the findings that they did so importantly, they made reference to. But was the PNDC in and of itself worried to the point that they were much more interested in getting to the bottom of the matter in this case?
Otherwise, why were the people arrested? Even a member of the PNDC was arrested.
Small fish, to be fair.
It's not a small fish. You want to say Amatekwe is a small fish?
In charge of TUC affairs and all of those worker groupings. It's not as big.
Go back to records and see Amatekwe's role in the revolution. Yes. He was a member of the council.
Yes, it's not without doubt.
Yes.
But Amatekwe is not the only person.
So who are the big fish in the...
Amatekwe is not the only person that was actually indicted, but was never put before trial. Is it not so?
Tell me.
For example, Captain Chikata was a member of the PNDC. He was indicted, was never put before trial. Indicted directly by the SIB.
Why wasn't he put on trial?
Because, you should know.
Why should I know? No, why should I know? I'm not part of the SIB.
Yes, I get your point.
I'm not part of the SIB. So if the SIB found something and they are not able to implement it, why do you push it to me?
Captain,
yes.
You spoke for the, what they call PNDC.
Sometimes.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Sometimes. You cannot tell me that you are not privy to the reasons why the legal side, that is in the very words of G.E.K. Akins. In fact, he's been said that it was an opinion anyway, that the reasons for him not putting Captain Chikata before trial at that time. You cannot say you don't know.
I don't know.
You didn't know?
No.
Why was it not communicated to the leadership of the PNDC then?
By who?
G.K. Akins, the man that was appointed to be the Attorney General at that time.
I'm not aware.
You are not aware?
I'm not aware.
So you didn't know the reasons why Captain Chikata was not put before trial?
I'm not aware.
You were not told at all?
I'm sincere, yes.
Throughout the time?
Yes.
Even when it all happened?
I'm sincere.
Now, there are some interesting parts that ought to be, for example, in George Ajekumu's book on the killing of these judges.
The magistrate.
Yes. George Ajekumu was of the opinion that, to be able to get to the bottom of the matter and fully unravel everything, there were some questions that people ought to answer, including the chairman of the PNDC at that time.
In order not to take you too far.
Yes.
What I know, leading to the abduction of these people, what I know, what I can tell you, is the fact that it's all about the curfew.
Yes, also curfew.
Yes. Curfew hours. For example, when the chairman of the Graphic and others interviewed the secretary for
Interior,
Johnny Hansen,
okay,
about the curfew, and he said there was no need to change the curfew, that the curfew hours will remain the same. But soon after that, that was on the 4th of June, by the 11th of June.
There was a press conference.
There was a press conference by Amatekwe.
You did not organize this press conference?
I didn't organize it.
You didn't know anything about it?
I didn't know anything about it. I had gone, and when I came back, the pressmen, the normal presidential press, were in my office, and they were transmitting their stories. So I said, hold on a minute, what story is it? He said, oh, when you were away, Amatekwe. I said, but the council has asked you not to listen to anybody. You should only take information from the press office or from the council. Why did you grant interview? Why did you allow somebody to grant interview to you? Hold on a second. So I crossed the street. I went to the chairman's office and asked him if he was aware. He said he was not aware. What is it about? I told him. He said, no, stop him. Because we had issued statements already, to the public and also to the press that they should take information from only my office. And even the chief of staff Colonel Ewa, issued a statement. So here you are. They were up to their task, sending messages as stories to their offices. So I asked them, to desist from it. I appealed to them to kill the story. They didn't agree. They left for their offices, and the story went up. But when this thing goes out, I cannot go back and say, oh, we are sorry. This story that.
So you didn't reverse that particular decision?
No, we didn't reverse it.
It was not as if. Okay, so let me be clear.
Because
what Amatekwe did, exactly what time did he put the curfew?
If I can, I thought he brought it down to 6 o'clock. But when I went through records today, at the graphic and so on, I didn't find 6 o'clock. But what he said was that anybody found in the curfew would pay 5,000 cedis. At that time, 5,000 was money. And also towards a hospital equipment rehabilitation program. And that other vehicles, roadworthiness, people would pay 200,000, when they were caught in it. He want diplomats, he want utility service workers, to carry their passes in their pockets when they were in the curfew. So soon after that, within the same week, the judges were abducted.
You connect these two events?
Yes, right. I just went to the press. I saw them. They are there. They are here with me. Okay, see, within 1 week, the people had, the judges had been abducted.
It sounds strange, right?
Yes.
But it also shows that, even for members of the PNDC, they were not playing by the same book.
This information was privy to me, actually. Yes, because they were all, normally they are very busy, and whether the press reported it or not, they may not know. But I was the one who knew, and I tried to kill it, but I couldn't kill it, so it went out. So
you're saying that Amatekwe wanted to abduct judges. That is why he lowered the...
I don't know. You told me the other day you want information. I'm only giving you information. No, I will not give you opinion. No, I will not do that.
I get your point. I'm not going to
I will not do that. Yes.
But you are saying that there's a linkage between the two events.
Well, why? Because the people were abducted in the curfew.
Yes.
Because that time everybody was rushing. You see, normally when they change curfew hours or when they announce new curfew regulations, you find people running home, before. But I know that the people were abducted during curfew hours.
So the decision to change the curfew timing was wrong, right?
It was wrong.
It had no approval from the highest office.
It had no approval whatsoever.
So
it's in the papers.
So Amatekwe acted suo motu.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Amatekwe, not that because he's dead. Let me tell you, Amatekwe would always come to my office and say, hey, you soldiers, you are making the revolution cold.
I'm making cold?
Cold. You soldiers, you are making the revolution cold. He would, anytime he entered Gondar Barracks, he would tell me this. You see, that's why after all this, I try to reflect. You understand? I try, but I cannot put any blame on him. If the court found him guilty, there you have it. You see, I'm not drawing alibi for anything, but I'm telling you, you want information. So this is what I'm telling you as what I know.
I see. Now,
about him as an individual.
So why wasn't it reversed? The suo motu decision by Amatekwe to change the timing for the curfew.
Well,
why wasn't it reversed if it was wrong?
If that was the cause of the abduction, Well, I don't know, because usually when you announce something and then you go to reverse it, it's like there's no unity.
But obviously, if the man did it without approval from the highest office, he acted in a way that was not in conformity with the procedure you are put in place.
But who knew what to follow?
So he was not punished for it. He was not reprimanded.
I'm sure he was reprimanded.
By who?
You see, because the chief of staff after that issued another statement, about making statements, anyhow.
But again, that specific decision on the curfew was not reversed.
No, I don't remember reversing it. Yes.
And you also said that this does not suggest to anybody that the PNDC knew about it. They asked him to do it in any way.
No. Well, at least the one who should know, was the one I asked if he was aware, and he said he was not aware.
So former President Rawlings was not aware?
He was not aware. I crossed to his office. My office was on this side, his was here. So I told the pressman, wait, let me check on this story, because I thought it was an important story. So I went to him, and he said, before I got back, they had left. They had left the office. And when I called their offices, they told me, oh, Captain, we heard this on television, and it's on the news. Why are you saying we should kill ours? And that's what I heard from the graphic.
Okay, that's interesting to know.
Yes.
Now, there are some interesting elements to all of this. It tells us how the PNDC was running. It tells us also how some of these things were let to go by. But you are saying that you cannot conclude that the man deliberately tampered with the curfew hours to commit the crime.
I am giving you information. Whatever you want to do with it, that's the information you have. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not a CID man or a SIB man to say that Amatekwe did it deliberately. But I'm only giving you information which is backed by documents here.
Okay.
Documents here. I've just made photocopies from the graphic.
Okay.
I can give them to you. Yes, they are like that.
Okay, I get your point. So
the sequence follows.
Yes, the sequence follows. That's the interesting part. Anyway, now let me be clear in my mind. The understanding many people have about how strong men ran the state at that time, it wasn't so, right?
Strong in what sense?
As in, for example,
we were human.
Yes.
We were strong, but we were human. That's why we used civilians as our secretaries.
I see.
We only backed the revolution. We used civilians as our secretaries.
Should history treat the PNDC as a successful military junta that yielded results?
A very successful one that led us into this democratic state.
But many believe that would have been an ordinary and normal trajectory. Because when you make provisional 10 years, you should expect some change along the line.
It is the setting up of the governance institutions that makes a government stand. You know that.
I get that.
Yes. You see, in the past, people seized power and handed over, without doing anything. But it is because of those governance institutions we established that this country has gained back its, prestige. So
the PNDC was not one set up purposefully to exert vengeance, to put out vendetta?
No. If things went haywire, you can expect in a revolution. You are a history student. Yeah. In fact, lives are concerned.
Okay.
So I don't want to talk about this thing. Sentiments are there. I don't want to talk about this. If people's parents, prominent people are abducted and murdered.
Yeah, that's true.
Who will be happy about that? I am a father. If I didn't have life, would I be here today celebrating my 37th wedding anniversary?
Was the PNDC interested in attacking the judiciary?
Why? Was it confrontational? Look, you just told me about Mr. Okujeto.
Yes,
what he says about soldiers. In every country, you have soldiers and the judiciary.
So that's why I'm asking the question in this case, because you set up the public tribunal. It was purely a PNDC creation, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, like you set up almost like a parallel institution to the judiciary.
No, it is because they didn't want to take part. I don't think anybody. After we had very good lawyers and judges, among us. Yes, very good ones. You know them.
Yes.
Justice Annan is there.
Yeah, I get your point.
VCRC Crab is there. There are other very prominent lawyers and judges. They were part of us.
No, my question here is that
Yes.
the PNDC obviously had a problem with the judiciary.
No, I don't think so.
Really? So why did you set up the public tribunals then?
It is because they said they were not going to sit on any case because they didn't recognize our government.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Which of them says so?
Of course, they said it. I mean, if
The group, I want to know which specific one.
which country's lawyers or judges, not judges, lawyers has
No, but I
ever
want you to
accepted.
be specific and tell me which specific individual, judge, lawyer, said that they were not going to recognize the PNDC administration.
You know, you take out judges because judges don't make statements.
Yes, so...
Yes, lawyers.
Oh, the Bar Association then?
I mean, judges don't make statements. Have you ever seen
I
any
get
judge
you.
making
I
a
understand
statement?
that. So, but you are saying that you are not going to really, they didn't recognize. Was it, are you talking about the Bar Association members as in
Bar
lawyers?
Association. I'm not talking about judges.
The Bar
Yes,
Association.
Bar Association.
So Samuel Kujetu made that comment.
That's why. Which comment?
The comment about not recognizing.
I didn't mention Okujetu.
So I want to know who said this, that
I
that's
spoke about
the entire
lawyers.
PNDC.
I spoke about lawyers.
So who said that? Which lawyer specifically? Which individual made that comment?
That didn't. Take for example, when we're making our how do you call it? Our how do you call the parliament? Before we started the parliamentary service,
Oh, okay.
we had to make the laws. When we were doing our laws, they didn't take part. They didn't take part. That's why we had tailors and seamstresses and carpenters, helping us to make laws for this country.
Okay, so because the lawyers boycotted the formulation of laws,
Yes.
that's why you
If they
presume that.
recognized that, they wouldn't have boycotted them.
But I get your point. But the decision of the lawyers I know was to boycott your public tribunal and not the courts.
Which court?
I'm saying that the lawyers' decision, which I know of, which
Yes.
is on record at one of their meetings, was to boycott the public tribunal and not the courts because they were officers of the court and they had not refused to attend to court cases. My question was, why did the PNDC set up public tribunals when there were courts in the country?
It was supposed to run parallel to them.
Why were courts
not?
inadequate?
Why not? That's what we found necessary.
Were the
Yes.
courts inadequate?
The courts?
Yes.
Well, sometimes you yourself, sometimes when cases go to court, you know how it goes. It takes a very long time. So that's even why we set up this courts, the electronic courts.
Okay.
In the past.
But that's part
To quicken.
Sorry, but that's part of the courts. It was the judicial system that put that together.
Yes.
This one was outside of the judicial system. It was a creation of the then executive, not of the judiciary at that time.
Did you find anything not right about their
Because-
operations?
bec-
For example, you
because,
had a
sorry.
lengthy interview with
Yes, I agree.
George.
George Ajakum, he's
Yes.
a fantastic man.
And so what
My
are you
only
saying?
difficulty is that it speaks to the motive of the PNDC in dealing with judges.
It was a revolutionary government, you know that.
I get that point.
Yes. So, I mean, look at France.
So you oppose judges. You oppose judges.
No, we didn't oppose judges. That's why I'm
Did
saying
the
don't
PNDC
bring judges into the matter.
Were the PNDC, the institution in itself, members of the PNDC, were you worried about the decision of some of these judges on the AFRC cases?
No.
You're not worried at all?
Excuse me.
I'm talking
You
about
see,
the PNDC.
Why would we be worried that they are touching the cases? Because the law says don't touch them. Let me tell you my story. Until we came back, myself, Flight and Rawlings, Squadron de Segbefia, were going to court.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we were going to court
Why?
about some of these cases. But when Flight and Rawlings was becoming popular, because the court was always filled when he appeared, they dropped him, and then Segbefia and I were the two who represented the former government.
Okay,
You
the
see?
FRC then.
FRC then. And then the court adjourned to, I think, 20th of January. And then the revolution, 31st December, had taken place. But I dressed up and went to court.
Okay.
And then the judge asked, oh, who's that officer in my court? So the registrar told me, oh, it is Captain Fojo. You know, the AFRC cases, and that's why he's here. Oh, young man, young officer, don't you know there's a wind of change? That's what he asked me.
What was that supposed to mean?
That there's a new government. So it was not relevant anymore.
That you no longer have to pursue the case?
That's what he told me. It's on record.
Okay, I get your point.
It's on record.
Okay, that's an interesting development. But
yes.
my
But nobody pursued any, well, as far as I'm concerned, nobody pursued any judge because we didn't like them or because they were touching, cases. You remember that...
They were not done because of that?
You remember that when we left office in 79, we set up a special tribunal and we put Justice Aban there, to review some of the things that we did. You know that? Yes, to review some of the things that we did. And those things that we thought were, too much, people's cars were parked because they overcharged, and then they drew fuel from smugglers' cars, poured on, somebody, patriotic person who is around and running his vehicle because he overcharged, they poured fuel on it and went it. Such things, we knew they were excesses. Mm-hmm. We knew they were excesses. So we set up a tribunal to look at those excesses. So it's not like as if we are interested in spoiling things and laughing over it. We ourselves, prepare the ground. When Liman came, Justice Aban was at the State House, doing that. Now,
the claim that the PNDC was at the helm of this, you say it's not true, right? The killing of the judges, and was aware and mastermind, they say.
I'm saying I am not aware. I'm not saying it is not true.
You can't boldly say it's not true.
No, I'm not aware. I mean, why would I lie to you?
Yes, I get your point.
Or why would they even do that?
But I wanted a definite statement that said that the PNDC did not mastermind. The PNDC was not involved. Those who carried out, not with the blessing of the PNDC.
I thought when I came here, I came to give you information to further.
Yes.
Yes, but I'm not here to talk about the judges because that thing pricks me. I don't want to talk about them.
I see.
They are people's parents.
But
they are loved ones.
That's the more reason why we should get to appreciate and understand what happened then more.
You see, so please, that one, leave it out. Mm-hmm. I only came to volunteer information.
I get you, Captain.
And if you work with this, you will get at the bottom. You get to the bottom of the thing. As far as I'm concerned, unless you think otherwise.
No, I am pleased by the kind of information you are giving us on this particular issue, and it's pretty exciting to know that some of you are still willing to volunteer some information on this matter.
That's it. You go through. Don't feel lazy. Go to all the press houses. The records are there. Mm-hmm. Follow some sequences and then see how it goes.
I see.
Yes, I told you the other day that the people have been tried. As far as I'm concerned, they are the people they found guilty and so on. But if, there's any further attempt to look for those who committed the crime, why would I stand against it?
No, that's actually not really the case as in most people are interested in. They're interested in learning from their own history. They are interested in having their unadulterated history.
That's what I've given you. Yes, unless you want to add yours. Maybe you were not even born then. How old were you? You were just about 2 years old.
You're stressing you're making the matter about my age, but there's a substantive issue that ought to be dealt with. Now, tell us about the things that the PNDC did that they ought to be remembered for.
What has led us to this fine dispensation? We are enjoying the freedom that our forefathers fought for. We are not fighting like other countries did. We've brought, this country all along to this place. And I believe that that coup has ended all coups in Ghana.
Okay, yes. The 81.
Yes, it has ended all coups in Ghana. Because now, look at what you are doing. You are here, GTV is there, other stations are there. Who is going to come to your studio and say, the hypocrisy of so-and-so's government is I'm seizing power. Who will look? It's only your limited audience that will see it. He will not go far. When we had GBC only, GBC, anybody who came to the studio won the day. You see, so we have been able to bring this country to this level and complete freedom. Everything you want, you have it. I'm sorry that people had to sacrifice their lives for this. It's not the best. It's not the best. I don't think any of us is a different human being. Any of us in the PNDC era or working around the PNDC era, we are people like everybody. We feel, we have feelings.
The claim that the PNDC actually had people who were insensitive to the happenings of the time, the excesses of the period. Is it true?
I'm telling you that by all means, in every situation, there will be excesses. But I don't necessarily have to ask you to go and do this.
Okay.
It is what you have in your mind. You see, oh, I have this power. Let me use it this way. That is yours. It's not mine. If we get you, we'll punish you. Do you think we didn't punish our own people? We punish them. Do you want us to announce to you that we have punished this person because he has done this? No.
To be fair, Amatiko was a member of the PNDC. He was actually put before the public tribunal.
Yes.
And sentenced and actually put in jail.
It's a military regime. You see? It's our own. I mean, if you do it, why should we hide it? And it's not as if we wanted to do something so bad in this country for our name to remain as the worst government. No. We have become the best government.
Really?
Yeah, let me say
PNDC
so.
was the best government?
Yes.
I mean, I compare it to only military juntas or really, of all time?
Our rule.
Yes.
Yes. And what we have led the country into.
Captain, let me take a break. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation. I think there's a side of the PNDC that ought to be portrayed to the rest of the Republic so that they have a full appreciation of what really happened.
Try and get it out of me. Yes.
I will try and do so. After the break, we'll continue our conversation with Captain George Infojo. He was actually the press liaison officer, what we call the press secretary today of the Provisional National Defense Council. The period that he actually reigned was between 81 up to the time we got our constitutional rule back on track for the Fourth Republic in 1992. We'll continue the conversation. You welcome back to Upfront. My name is Raymond Dalkwa. In this conversation, we're seeking to understand, go into the minds of the PNDC of 1981, December, forward up to the time we actually move into 1992 when they had to hand over. On this platform, I'm sure you've heard from people like John Indabugri and co. describe and discuss what they did specifically under the rule in times past on this matter. But what we have today is the man who was the press secretary, then called press liaison officer of the PNDC at the time, Captain George Infojo. He later on became a member of parliament for Ho Central. And Captain, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, so
I did leave, I did quit. And then I left the army and went to Anglo Gold Ashanti. Yeah, before the handing over.
Before becoming...
But what we are discussing...
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Now, let me understand this. So, how was the reaction by Judge Rawlings when he first heard of the incident of the abduction and killing of the judges?
You see, I'm not here... I'm not here to defend anybody.
No, not at all.
Yes.
See,
Captain, there are certain things I don't want to.
Sorry, I want a true account.
Yes.
It's not about defense. I want a true account of what happened. I did not see him at that time. You were close to him. So when you were invited to be told what really had happened, what was the situation at that time?
He was not happy. Of course, obviously, he was not happy. And because I couldn't even get close to him, he had sent for me. And when I got back, he was standing in the center of the regiment on the road. And then other people, nobody was close to him. His bodyguards were also, a bit away from him. And I realized that he was in a very tense mood. He was in a very tense mood, and I also didn't... I received it from him. Because you see, he was somebody who was most of the time indoors.
Okay.
And so he would tell us, go out and discipline the men. Make sure that they don't bring problems, home to us. You see, so when I got there and he saw me, because usually when something happens and I come, maybe we have to help organize a press conference or a press statement. So when I got there, I thought that was the only thing, but he gave it to me. He gave it to me as if I was at any fault.
Okay.
He gave it to me. I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand him. So I had to get back in fear. He was really, really tense. I've told you that I am not here to polish anybody's image, but I'm telling you what happened.
Okay, it's interesting. So you wrote statements for him, right?
It depends on what statement.
Okay.
If it's not from the council, if it's something, about the council, yes.
Do you know the first time that JoyNews heard of this incident? Are you aware? Were you aware?
I don't know. I was sent for in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This was which day?
It was...
Second, third, fourth?
I can't remember. But
okay.
Oh, you mean? Oh, maybe if the thing happened in the night?
Yes, 30th.
Yes, that was in the morning.
The next morning?
Yeah, that was the next morning.
I see.
That was the next morning. If it happened, in the night, then that was it.
So the 30th was Wednesday. This was Thursday in the morning.
Yeah, if it was, yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Now, so he then was insistent that they needed to investigate this. Was he?
No, he didn't. Well, I'm not an investigator, so...
No, I'm
yes, he was not happy. Mm-hmm. He was not happy. It thinks that we are not disciplining the soldiers enough.
I see.
We should keep them under check. Mm-hmm. You see, he doesn't have the chance like we have to go out.
To be out there with the soldiers.
I can go to my house. I can go anywhere. But he was always in the room. So he expects us to discipline them, to be hard on them.
Oh, okay.
You see, I mean, you are an officer. You must not be afraid of your man. You should be able to talk to your man and put him on the right road.
But did he understand that things were seemingly out of control?
It depends on what it was.
Okay.
Things getting out of control. In what way?
Okay, but you said that because of the situation then, it was not...
No, when it starts, we call it spontaneous action.
Okay.
Everybody grabs a weapon from somewhere. So it takes time to disarm them.
Oh, okay.
And put them at their proper place. But, Mark, we were in a battalion. We were 79, we were in a 5BN. That's Arakan Barracks. 31st December, we were in a Gonda Barracks. You see, Gonda Barracks is the Reki regiment, and they have their own armory and so on. And people, from adjoining battalions and these things will grab their weapons and come to headquarters. So you don't know how they got their weapons. So you have to, all those people are there. They want action. They want, something to do. They grab a taxi and go out to the market to extort money to do this. It was. If you saw it, you wouldn't like it. But so it takes time to calm them down, to collect those weapons and send people back to their units. Because when it happens like that, everybody comes, like spontaneous, they all come. But it takes time to disperse them, to let them go back and keep proper discipline.
You did say that he had actually said that military men were out of order and that you guys needed to put them in the right position.
The soldiers.
The soldiers.
The soldiers, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, that means he knew that...
We should bring them on track.
He knew the next day that this act has been committed by soldiers.
No, I don't think so.
Because you said that he was saying that...
We control, we control the security situation.
Okay.
So if civilians, even if they were civilians, how do we allow them to abduct people and take them away? That's that's what it means.
Okay, so he didn't just reference soldiers. He was saying that.
Yes, it's the security situation. Yes.
But when did it become obvious to him that this abduction was done by military men together with people he knew in the PNDC?
I wouldn't know because I don't know when the investigators approached him.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Because on the 2nd, Amatekwes's account was that on the 2nd, he had told him when he asked him about finishing them and killing these
you
judges.
are accepting Amatekwes's account?
No. That's what I'm asking
Yes.
you, because you are better positioned to
No,
appreciate
you are
that more than me.
accepting Amatekwes's. I mean,
No, Captain, I'm asking a question that this is what Amatekwes said. So I was trying to find out from you whether indeed by the 2nd, the chairman of the PNDC had gotten to know that this incident had happened and that the people had been killed by people he knew.
I believe it's only when the chairman sends him to do it that the chairman would want to hear this account. I don't know. Yes, if Rollins didn't send him to go and abduct the people and murder them, why would he go to the office and say that? I don't believe it.
You don't believe Amatekwes's account?
I don't believe it. Well, I wouldn't say I don't believe it. If the investigators, did they believe it? The investigators, did they believe it?
The investigators of this one. Okay, but they had actually stipulated that Amatekwe had made several accounts, different, varied, and in different forms.
That's somebody who is thinking will hold on to a straw.
I see.
Yes, because I mean, if I call the big bar, even here it happens. In your workplace it happens. People mention the big man's name and get away with things, don't they?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So
I want to believe so.
No, that's the easiest thing to do.
Okay, so that's just what he was doing.
I don't know.
Okay, no, but
I'm only saying it, that could be the thing. If
On hindsight, was the PNDC really necessary?
I've told you already.
No, you talked about the biggest achievement of it. I was asking to you, on hindsight, was the PNDC really necessary?
It was necessary.
You were suspecting that if Liman had continued, we wouldn't have been anywhere near where we are today?
That's why I say go back to the record. Even his budget was rejected.
Yes, but
his budget was rejected.
A rejection of a budget is just
no. Even his party general secretary, what happened to him? Someone had to take over from him. There was chaos all over.
And that was the justification.
And then contracts were given out. Let me tell you about Liman. When Liman won power, we supervised the elections. When we took over June 4th, we supervised elections, and then Liman won. When he took power, we brought him to Arakan Barracks and said, if he wouldn't mind, let's help him, to clean the party.
Okay.
The party. We said it. It was reported on the press. He said, no, I have my own broom. That's what he said.
Okay.
So we left him to do his work, because we knew that he, as a civil servant, a public servant, because there was nobody, he was put there, to do somebody's bidding.
Really?
That's why we tried to help him.
What, Liman was a puppet?
He was a public servant.
I get the point.
I can't call him a puppet.
You said that he was put there to do somebody's bidding.
Yes, it doesn't necessarily mean that he was a puppet.
Okay, I get your point.
Yes.
If you say so.
I will not refer to my ex-head of state as a puppet.
Okay.
Yes, but that's what happened because we knew he would be, held here and there. Give me this. Look. Go back and look at the contracts that were awarded.
The principles of the PNDC was probity, accountability, right?
Yes.
Did you live up to it?
Yes, it depends on your marking scheme. Yes.
Tell me the things that you did that show us today that you lived up to probity and accountability.
At least we've been able to steer this country to a very comfortable,
That's probity and accountability?
That to a very comfortable position.
No, I just wanted to be clear.
For democracy to take over. Probity, accountability, because, even if there was only one person, you still find him going wrong. We were human beings. So you don't expect us to be 100%,
I get your point. Yes. So the question I'm asking you is that, what are the examples today that suggest that the PNDC lived up to its own creed of probity and accountability?
Yes. Those who lived during the time, not people like you. Yes, not people like you.
You are
Yes, it's still, the revolutionary verve is still in them.
Mm.
Yes, it's still in them. You know, we are human. That's why after all this, we will still go back and do certain things. Otherwise, it's not necessary.
You know Nani Kofi, right? He was a regional coordinator of a sort. He was a regional secretary for the Volta region.
What Kofi?
Nani Kofi.
Nani?
Yes.
Something Nani.
Explode Nani Kofi.
Explode.
Yes. You know him, right?
Yes, I
he
think
says
so.
that the PNDC failed completely when it comes to these ethics and these standards.
He's not the man, he's not the standard bearer.
But he was a member of the PNDC.
It doesn't matter. People fall out, you know that.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Sometimes the revolution turns on his own child too. And so when it happens that way, it depends. I don't know what he did and why he would, turn around and, make such a comment.
Now, was your job as press liaison also a very difficult one?
It was a difficult one because of these things.
Did you have to lie on behalf of the PNDC?
Never.
Once?
Never.
Not a single time?
No, never.
If you did, would you have told me?
Lie about, no, why? Lie. I'm like you. I train as a journalist like you.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Yes, so I'm not only a soldier. I'm a journalist like you.
If you did,
if the journalist tells the truth, then I also stand to tell the truth. I tell the truth.
Really?
Yes.
All the time?
Yes.
You were never made to misrepresent any facts?
No.
The press statement of Chairman Rawlings on the 4th, were you aware? On the 4th of July?
Did he make a press statement or he
addressed? Yes.
He addressed the nation.
Yes, very much so.
He addressed the nation.
Yeah.
Yes, because
you are aware.
Excuse me, when you kill people's daddies and so on, you don't write a statement and throw it out to people. You tell them.
Yeah.
Yes, you tell them.
And these were judges. They were special people.
Yes. So he told the nation.
Because it's not all deaths that he did a statement on.
Go back. I remember watching. Go back for the tape, play it, and look at his countenance.
Yeah.
Look at his countenance and whether he enjoyed it.
Okay, but the point I'm actually making is that you knew all the details of that statement before it was put out there.
The statement?
Yes.
It was written by the council.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
No, because
that was beyond me. It was written by the council.
Proud to this statement. Because Amatekwe said he had met him and had told what had happened to the judges. In this statement, the chairman of the PNDC made it clear that he didn't know the people who had actually, in fact, he said they were enemies of the revolution. But they were not, right?
By that time, if he didn't know who did it, who could they be? If we have a government and then you come behind us and abduct respectable, honorable judges, breadwinners, and go and murder them. You understand me?
Yeah.
Yes. It's only a callous person who would do this. So why would we feel fine about it? So he didn't think the least. I believe he didn't think the least that it came from within.
He didn't do so?
I don't think so.
Okay. Even though Amatekwe said that on the second, he told him the people who did it.
If you believe that, you keep on.
But that's not been challenged. That's not been challenged before.
By who?
By anybody involved in this. None of the probes since the SIB's work has challenged this account.
Well, I'm not. Maybe I have to go and study it myself again. Yes, because.
But you know the history.
No. Yes, I know the history,
yes.
But this is something that Amatekwe, he confirmed that Amatekwe told him.
No, he has not confirmed because he was never. That's one of the issues. Do you think that the former president should have appeared before the SIB?
You see, no, that one, leave me out of it.
Really, it's a question that you should be interested in answering.
Oh.
You think so?
Why?
Because, see, let me tell you something. On page 16 of George Akume's book, he makes a specific reference that, to be fair, the SIB though, if they had sent a questionnaire to the chairman and his wife on the issues, asking these specific questions, as to when he was told by Amatekwe vis-a-vis his July 4th broadcast. 2, if really he had been told by Kwe as alleged, then what was the motive behind such a broadcast and his pronouncement? Why the jeep was parked in his house? The circumstances under which the keys were left on the dining table? Whether or not the jeep and the jeep itself were being kept in the house? And of course, if yes, what was the reasons for and this jeep is what was used in committing the crime in this case?
Was it parked because of the crime?
Was it?
Was the jeep parked because of the crime?
Now,
I thought that was where the jeep was always parked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's why it was always parked.
It was always in the house.
I see.
Yes.
So those are questions.
It was not for this. It was not for the purpose of the abduction that the jeeps were sent there.
So Jordan Cook's conclusion is that if the SIB had sent a questionnaire of sort to the chairman of the PNDC asking these questions, and his wife specifically asking these questions, maybe we'd have gotten somewhere with this story.
And well, if you open back the wounds, call Ajekum, to yes, because
no, but Judge Adekum is not actually part of any tribunal now. He's retired. He's a fine lawyer.
But he's there, yes.
Yes, I know
he's there. He knows more about this than I do.
No, but he's saying in his book that if these questions were put to what they call the chairman Rollins, some of the issues would have been resolved. Do you think so?
So was somebody afraid to ask him to put it to him?
No, but he was not in charge of that. He was taking evidence from the SIB and using it to prosecute.
That's his opinion.
Yeah.
That's his
opinion. You
disagree? I'm not disagreeing. That's his opinion. Another judge or lawyer will find a different...
Is the PNDC being bastardized today?
I think since you started this program. Yes.
Which program? Upfront or?
Who killed the judges?
Ah, I see.
Yes.
Since JoyNews put out the documentary.
Yes. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Whether you were looking for the killers of the respected judges, alive.
You think the matter has been concluded?
Well, I'm not a judge. I'm not an investigator.
You were
I'm not a judge.
You were media liaison.
But when crimes are committed.
Yes, no, but respectfully, the question I'm asking you is for an opinion.
I cannot come and sit here. I cannot agree to come and sit here and agree to lie.
Yes, I agree with you.
I cannot lie.
You are way too principled for that.
I have kids. I have a family.
Yes.
I told you today is the 37th anniversary of my wedding.
Very much so.
Yes.
But this is the simple question I'm asking you.
Yes.
Was the matter concluded?
This matter, the killing of the judges. Well, for me, so far as people have been tried and sentenced, we only appeal to families and those concerned to please accept it.
Okay, I get your point.
Because you don't need to go scratching. It's painful, even for me. It's painful.
I see.
You see, it's for a woman.
Sorry, when are you writing a book on your role in the PNDC? I've been asking some of you this question. I'm not getting responses that I like. When are you writing your book?
Only in the PNDC.
Yes.
I've worked as a teacher.
Yes.
I've worked as a journalist.
I'm sure none of these are as controversial as your work
I've
at the PNDC.
worked as a soldier.
Yes.
I've worked as a miner in the gold mine. I've worked as a DCE. I've worked as MP.
Member of Parliament.
So, well, if I'm not lazy, I should be able to come out with a book.
I'm pleased.
Not necessarily about who killed the judges.
I agree. Yes. I
mean, you carry on with who killed the judges. And if you need information, come and see whether if I go back to the press, I'll be able to get you something.
I'll be very pleased to do so. But for now, I appreciate your coming. It's been wonderful, and we appreciate your coming here too. And the information you shared with us today, Captain Fojo. Well, my guest was Press Liaison Officer of the PNDC at the time. Folks, thank you so much for watching today's edition of Upfront.